Good evening. My name is William Loden, chaplain at Spindale Department of Correction. This is Chaplain's Corner. This evening we have Robert Robbs. He was telling a story. He's a good example. Your past does not define who you are. Just start over again.
There was a time when I was all alone.
Rob, this evening we'd like you to share your story. I know your story. I've heard your story a few times. But there's people listening now that has not heard your story. There's some people that will never go to church. But you know what? They pull those cell phones out and they go to YouTube. They know where it's at, you know. And we want to do all we can to use every avenue we can to get the story out there. But I've known you, Rob, for a great number of years. And I've seen your testimony, heard your testimony, seen you walk the walk. Not just walk the walk, but talk to talk to. So this evening I want you to share your story with the people. And every now and then I may add a few more things to pull things out that I've heard over the years. Maybe a chicken box or something else. But you go ahead and share what you feel like to share, Rob, from your story.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here and just to share what God is doing in my life, where I come from. A little bit about me. My name is Robert Robbs. I grew up single parent home, mother raising. I'm the oldest of 4 boys. Seeing mom struggle growing up, and just say growing up in the hood. It's not an excuse, you know. I made choices, my own choices. So I chose to get in the drug trade. It was just make fast money, help family out, and I was moving cocaine from Georgia to Asheville. Not to glorify that story, but I just want to kind of let everybody know where I'm from, what's going on in my life, and how God really transformed me. So just I told my mom I'm here to win. You know, I told I'm going to the top, and I kind of went to the top. I got charged with federal system. I got charged with 999 kilos of cocaine, 1.5 kilos of crack cocaine. I was facing 20 years to life.
20 years of life.
20 years of life. I also had state charges. They said I had murder for hire, conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to robbery, hiring people to do things. I had the influence, and I was like, man, I ain't that bad. You know, I was 24 years old at the time when I got locked up, and I knew nothing about Jesus. I knew nothing about Jesus. It was just, you know, I knew Christmas. I knew Easter, you know.
So you went to church for Christmas and Easter?
No, I really didn't go to church then. I ain't know nothing about Jesus, no relationship with Jesus. And when I went into county jail, I was facing death and life with state. So I was looking to never get out of prison. And I met the chaplain of the jail, by the name of Reverend O.T. Toms. He was the pastor at Mount Olive up there at Asheville, but he was the chaplain of the county jail. And he came to visit me. My aunt told me to come check on me because I was locked down 23 hours out of the day. And he came to visit, and I was like, who sent you over here, the district attorney? You know, why you want to talk to me, you know?
Uh-huh.
But he had a way of just kept coming, digging in, and finally he started calling me out one-on-ones. And I thank God for, you know, divine appointments. Right. God really sent him, and he just introduced me to God. You know, he showed me the love of a black man, a male. You know, I never had that male embrace me, kiss me on the cheek. I'm like, man, what's wrong with this guy? You know, he embraced me and showed me that love. He said, I tell you what, I'm gonna love you till I'm cold in the grave. I never had that. Just look me in the eyes and tell me I'm gonna love you, and I'm gonna show you everything I know. I'm gonna show you. And I'm like, well, what you know? He introduced Jesus to me. You know, June 27, 2000. That's when, you know, God entered into my heart, you know.
Well, let me ask you, coming up, what kind of habits did you have? You know?
Well, I never did drugs. I never smoked cigarettes or alcohol. I didn't even like taking Tylenol. I did nothing. Reason being, my father was an alcoholic, and once he started drinking, he would do other drugs and other things, and I was like, I'd never be like that. I didn't like the way he acted. And I was like, that might be me, you know, so I would never do it. I told him I'd never be like that. And he was in and out of prison. I told him I'd never be like him. I ended up being just like him, not using drugs, but going to prison for a long period than taken away from my children. You know, I have 5 children. I put myself in a position to be taken away. And being in prison, being incarcerated, I seen that I could handle being in prison. It brings tears to my eyes now. I couldn't handle the pain that I caused my family. You know, my son, he write me and say, well, he came to visit me, say, Daddy, I'm mad at you. You left me. You know, that hurt. You know, I did. The choices that I made in life, I put myself in a position to be taken away from me. My daughter said, Daddy, how many birthdays I got for you to come home? And then really what ripped my heart out, my mom would come visit me, and they would be like, 15 minutes left for visitation. And she just started crying. And the first 8 years, she'd be like, I'm just happy to see you. I said, Mom, why are you crying? She said, I'm just happy to see you. And then that year, that 8th year, she was like, I hate leaving you in here. I can't do nothing to get you out of here. And I had to, that just ripped my heart out. I'm like, man, you know, like, I done this. You know, I like, Mom, you was the best mom in the world. You know, I made the choices to do what I was doing. I was selling those drugs. Nobody put a gun to my head and say, you better sell these drugs. It was the choices. You know, you hear people saying, it's a product of your environment. You grew up in the hood, that's all you seen, that's all. I seen football players, I seen basketball players, I seen lawyers, I done seen these come my classmates, you know, so it's like the choices that I made.
Well, let's put a pin right there, Rob. You said you was thinking about coming up, being a school teacher. You was maybe been.
Yes, sir. Physical, I was gonna be a math teacher, physical science, math. I love math. I used to love math, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go to school, be a teacher, you know.
Right.
But like I said, it wasn't that was a motivational factor to say, well, this is why I'm gonna sell drugs. I'm gonna help my mom. My mom was working 2 jobs. I mean, she was taking care of us, but I seen her struggle. You know, I seen her struggle, and that was my excuse. That was my excuse, because she didn't want me to sell drugs. She'd be like, don't bring that stuff in my house, don't be around me. It was just my excuse.
You said something one time in one of the church services that it's like a business.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir. Well, you gotta be accounting. You know, you counting all the money. It's marketing and distributing.
Right.
You going to get the product and you putting it out, manufacturing it. You sell it. It's like an organization that you the CEO. If you're the head man, you're the CEO.
Yeah.
And it's a scripture in the Bible where Jesus told the disciples, he said, come follow me and I'll make you. And I kind of grabbed that, you know, once I began to follow Jesus. He said, I'm going to make you everything that you need to do. All you got to do is follow and let me do the making.
Right.
So once he started doing that, everything that I learned, how to manage money and things like that, he started making me and shaping me to do it in the right way.
Right.
So I got a great job now to be able to take care of my family.
What type of work you do now, Rob?
I do heating and air. It's called critical air. That's like data centers and big heating and air systems, new construction. And I also do ISP, it's internal special projects. It's like doing the bank buildings downtown Charlotte.
Right.
A company might come in and rent the floor out, and they want to rearrange the whole air system. We go in and we just run it how they want it in every room that they want it in, through walls and everything.
Well, let me ask you, how did you get your degrees to be able to do something like that?
Well, I was incarcerated. OT, thank God for OT Thomas. He told me, he said, while you in here, get yourself a paper trail. I didn't know what it meant. He was like, just get a paper trail, be productive while you're here. Because in prison, you work 40 cents, 70 cents, or $1 a day. So I was like, well, I might as well just take every schooling that I can possibly take. For 16 years, I spent 15 years, 11 months, and 22 days.
Say it again.
15 years, 11 months, and 22 days behind a prison wall.
Time.
But God gave me a different perspective.
Okay.
I didn't look at it as a prison anymore. He said, this your university.
Oh, I like that.
You know, so I went to school the whole time. I got like 8 different associate degrees.
How many degrees?
8 different associate degrees. So I just went to school, and it was like I say, it was God, divine appointment, put OT in my life to plant that seed. It was a motivation factor for me. If I could make straight A's, because it was college courses, different community colleges, and it was. If I make straight A's and be in the newspapers on the dean's list, I can send that home to my children and say, look, I'm incarcerated, going to school making straight A's. I demand that you make straight A's, you know. And they end up going to school, going to college.
That's
you know,
all right.
Dean's list in college.
That's
you know,
all right.
So, it's all God.
One thing you shared a while back, Rob, is about how you was able to be in your kids' life, even though you was locked up.
Even behind the prison.
How did you do that?
Well, it was God. Like everything that happened behind the wall, it was divine. It was a divine appointment,
Right.
because it was nothing that I said. Well, I'm gonna just do this. It was God would plant something in my spirit and say, well, write your children every week, no matter if they write you back or not.
I like that.
Every week you write a letter, and I would write a letter. Just tell them I love you, I'm proud of you, I'm thinking about you. My daughters, I would tell them they're beautiful. And when they come visit me, I got it to the point where they would just stand up at the table until I come out and pull the chair out for them.
Praise
You know,
God.
so it
That's
was
all
like
right.
planting a seed that the man's supposed to pull
That's
the chair
good.
out for you. And I would tell them, if a man would be like I used to be, wearing his pants hanging down or talking to you with disrespect, when he ain't motivating you to do the right things, that ain't the guy that you need to be with. So I pray that I was planting a seed, even though I was behind the prison wall. So it was God really saying, okay, you need to change or break, you know how they say break the generational curses.
Right.
That was a curse that growing up in the hood, how I used to treat women. So I was like, well, I gotta teach my daughters how not to be treated. You know, so I would just do things like that, write letters, and like I say, pull out the chair for them. So when I come out, they wouldn't even be sitting down. They would be standing up, waiting on me. Then you need to pull the chair out, you know.
That's all right. I like it. I like it. Just a few days ago, I got a chance to go to your daughter's wedding. That was really beautiful, you know.
That was like everything coming back to a circle. God saying, like, you know, He said He'll restore the years that the cankerworm took, you know, and the locusts ate.
Yeah,
He'll
go ahead, man.
restore those years, and that was my prayer. Like when I laid down, I would see my 5 children's faces. Lord, I want to make it back to my children. I want to be a father to my children. Not just financially, I want to be there emotionally, physically, when they need me. And that just brought it back to me where I was able to walk my daughter down the aisle,
Praise God.
give her away,
Yeah.
and then step up and then officiate the wedding ceremony.
Not many dads had this opportunity to do that.
That was a blessing.
Very few.
That was a blessing. That was just God said, see what I was able to give you back. You know, what you thought you lost, I give it back and even more. That was truly a blessing.
We're going to share a couple more things, Ron, but one thing I noticed about you, you know, you meet people from all walks of life, and you're not a judgmental, condemning type person, no matter what the person's doing.
That was God teaching me how not to be judgmental, because being incarcerated, you hear all the time people say, guys on fire for the Lord in there, and then they get out and come right back, and you hear guys saying, I knew he was gonna mess up. I knew he, and God really convicted me. It was like, well, no, they didn't know. They didn't know. They don't know the man's heart.
Right.
His heart could have been right, ready, on fire, and ready to do the things for the Lord, but you don't know his circumstances, what he went out there to, what he didn't have. You know, he didn't have the support, and he couldn't get the job. And the easiest thing for a man to do is go back to the familiar. You know, like me selling drugs. If I didn't have that tight circle, that support saying, you don't want to go back to prison,
Right.
who knows what I would do. I had it in my mind, in my heart, like I ain't never coming back. But I had to surround myself with support, because and people that survive something, because surviving is contagious.
Like that.
You know, I also surround myself with a Chaplain Logan who that be in the prison every day, but know how to stay out of prison.
Praise
You
God.
know how to go to work.
I want to go home.
That's right. So I surround myself with people that survive something, people that don't sell drugs.
Praise God.
That was my habit. So I gotta surround myself with people that don't sell drugs. That was my way of thinking.
That's good.
I never judge nobody, because God met me where I was at. So you gotta meet people where they at.
Praise God. Rob, I thank God for you sharing it, but I just one more thing. That chicken box. Just tell some people don't know about the chicken
Yeah,
box.
the chicken box.
They don't know about the Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, you don't know about that chicken
Yeah.
box. Man.
You gotta hear this story.
Well, that chicken box, it was I got out and I had to stay with my brother up in Fairview, up there near Asheville. Man, I want some fried chicken. I want some chicken. You know, it was about the second day I was home. We stopped at KFC.
Wait a minute, you don't get chicken in prison?
Not fried. They took fried food out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They took the fried food out of there. So I said, I want some chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy. We stopped at KFC. He driving. I'm just eating away. He driving and eating. So we going around the mountains of the Fairview. And you know, my mindset was already, I ain't never going back to prison. I ain't doing nothing to break the law. I ain't going back to prison. So he rolled his window down and he finished, he just chunked it out the window, chunked the bottles out the window. I say, stop the car, stop the car. He's like, what's wrong, what's wrong? I said, man, you breaking the law, you littering, man, you don't do that around me. Don't break the law around me, man. So he was like, you serious about not going back to prison? I said, man, I ain't going back, you know. So I mean, I go 15 under the speed limit. I can't break the law, Jeff. I got a state trooper. When I hit that deer, I hit a deer. State trooper came on 74. State trooper came. The deer got up and ran away. So the state trooper came and he started just talking. He said, I gotta write you a ticket. I'm like, a ticket? I said, I hit a deer. You can see the fur and everything on him. He said, well, the ticket said failure to maintain your lane when proper lines are on the road. I'm like, what? So I got really confident. Well, okay, sir, we'll take the ticket. He said, I never seen nobody this calm that had an accident and totaled the car. I said, I ain't never put them silver bracelets on. I'd have been getting all irate.
Bracelets?
Yeah, I ain't never put them. I told him that. I said, I ain't never put them silver bracelets on. You know,
See, you shot with it.
yeah, I said, the car, I get another one. It'll be all right. But I just learned how to be humble. Like, no matter what, just stay calm in the situation and be humble. It's all God.
Was that gray?
Yeah, the Mustang. I said, I'm gonna ride this car till the wheels fall off. And I hit that deer and the front wheel came off. So be careful what you say.
I like that, man. I like that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Rob, in closing, what would you tell guys, how many years you been out of prison?
I've been home May of next year will be 10 years.
10
May
years.
of 2024 will be 10 years. May 10th of 2024 will be 10 years. So it's a little over 9 years I've been home.
That's good. But what would you tell guys and ladies how to stay out of prison?
How to stay out of prison?
How to never come back in.
Well, I first thing I would say, you got to set it in your mind. The Bible tells us in Proverbs several times, it say, as a person think, as a man thinketh, so is he. Mm-hmm. So you hear that story all the time. When you say, you tell yourself a lie so much you believe it. Mm-hmm. Tell yourself, I ain't never going back. And you got to say it with conviction, I ain't never going back to prison. And, people will be like, well, you can't say that. You don't never know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I know I ain't going back to prison. And I said it with conviction, so much conviction, and I believe it. It's God put it in my spirit. I ain't never going back to prison. Never. And I said it, that you have to surround yourself with support. People that survive something. And by surrounding yourself with those people, that means you got to change your playground and your playmates.
Playground?
And your playmates.
Playmates.
Because you don't, you're going to end up playing again.
Okay.
You got to change your playground. You can't go back to that same playground. A lot of guys coming out of prison be like, well, I'm going to move to this city, away from my city where I was at. You can find whatever you used to do in any city.
I know that's right.
So you have to change your playground and your playmates. That's the key.
Rob, tell me your favorite verse before we close out here.
Man,
King's heart.
I have so many, but Proverbs 21:1, it tells us the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever so he pleases, as the rivers of water. That tells me that God is massaging the hearts of people that work in your favor, and they don't even know why they're working in your favor. It's just a lot of people just entered in my life and was like, call this number, I'm gonna help you. Tell them I said call this number, and it be God. God massaged the hearts to work in my favor. And I called a number, they set it up, pay for schooling, and
Praise
it
God.
just be God.
We want to do part two of this because Rob, there's so much to your story that we don't have time to even tell. You know, about the bus in Asheville. You know, got you plastered on the bus. You know, got your picture on the bus in Asheville. You know.
It was like, I ain't in trouble.
Ron Moore was trying to clean the streets up, get you out of there. He didn't know what he was doing, did he?
No, and now the district attorney in Asheville, I was the keynote speaker for his campaign, and he won the election for the district attorney. I'm the keynote speaker.
Praise God. That's all God. We can say it's all good.
all
I know that it's all God. Rob, thank you for coming today and sharing your story. Love you, man.